officials stationed in Qatar, as well as members of their government, speaking with congressmen and congresswomen about the complex geopolitical relationship and financial partnerships that Qatar has with the United States, visiting the campus of Georgetown University based in Qatar, and encountering an Islamic population that is quite different from the far-left radicals we're dealing with in the US of A. In the weeks and months before my visit, Qatar had been visited by patriotic American servants, I love when they say that, like Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who apparently has a good right hook, or right hand, by the way, and of course our 47th president, real Donald Trump. I am proud to follow in their footsteps in doing my part to understand Qatar, bringing my military and media experience and expertise to help our various ambassadors and American officials currently serving, helping to keep America strong by understanding and highlighting the unique and mutually beneficial military and financial partnerships that we share with Qatar. It has been an eye-opening few days, and I cannot wait to share more with you. Now, what you don't see is off camera, if you just move the camera over a little bit, there's a 45 pointed at his head, and a dude probably from Qatar who's with
Julian, how much they gotta pay you to take a picture like that, huh?
I mean this so nicely. This is not a shot, but like that's one of the pictures I've seen.
Oh, I didn't know that they had a base in Qatar.
Dude.
I'm Rob Smith, and I'm a media expert. Joey, I don't know if we could even just scroll down a little bit on those replies. My boy, he might have to shut those off because my boy got roasted. Yeah, yeah. Look at Melissa Chan. Yeah, how on earth is an Iraq vet? Did you not know that there's a U.S. Air Force base in Qatar that holds like? Dude, come on. The Iraq War was launched from there.
Somewhere Mike Ritland's just like walking.
We're living in a simulation,
right
bro, a psyop.
Oh my God.
We got to laugh at this stuff. I'm glad that this episode happened today, Julian, that we get to do this and call this shit out. Because
oh my God.
I
love this.
Yeah.
We've pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
There's no, we're every sentence. Okay, what'd you find, Joe? 11 countries paying U.S. TikTokers FARA filings. So this would require to be registered with FARA, which, you know.
I don't know. It feels like the number 11 is doing a lot more.
But they're doing it through the non-FARA
Mexico.
filings. That's the point.
Mexico. Me and Julian be on a flight. Come on, man.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Qatar's at 2.8 million, Saudi at 4.1, UAE at 1.9. Gonna skip a bunch. And Russia at 9.7. Six YouTubers, and then in parentheses indicted. And then Israel 900K, 14 to 18 creators. But Israel has a lot of organizations that do not register with FAR.
Boom. And yeah, Rob Smith is a perfect example of an influencer who you tell him to jump, he says, "How high, sir?"
I want to know. Actually, I don't want to personally know.
And this is the thing too, Julian. Is the reason I'm pointing this out? I'm so kind of just raised about it. Say I'm an independent journalist.
Nope.
Fake body armor and a helmet, and they go to Israel and they fly to Gaza and they tell you that Gazans aren't starving, you know, and this nice protected trip. And the White House has kind of figured a way to kind of crack into that influencer thing. So that I'm just pointing it out. You know, watch out for when people say I'm independent journalist. Just call it, just be, hey, I'm a conservative journalist. I'm a liberal.
Yes.
You know, independent should be reserved for guys who are calling balls and strikes, not on a team.
More important than the independent journalist.
There you go.
Like, we have righteously shredded the mainstream media left-wing journalism machine for claiming to be journalists for years now, as we should, because they're not. They bastardized the word. But if I'm going to sit here and rip Rachel Maddow for calling herself a journalist, how am I not going to rip people like this just because they're in the from the other side on their own? And it's like the day that the slippery slope becomes God damn, that check looks good. I'm gonna be on on the right side of history.
They're so psychotic, bro, that they have to lie to themselves and think they're on the that they're doing
Yeah.
the right thing. I don't know, Joey, if we could Google it or something, just put like Pentagon influencers.
Yeah.
That to me was insane. So yeah, basically now these influencers that cover the Pentagon, they're basically giving is essentially like the thing that we make fun of, like as you said, Joey, when we call out the left of them basically getting basically being PR for the Democratic Party, basically getting a statement, either reporting it. That's these guys. These guys are now getting statements from the Pentagon, and they just report it to their to their audience. And I guess that's independent media.
We're in trouble, man. We've done it to
You know
ourselves.
what? Joey, can I start like this though? I mean, if you love the game, I love the game. So I got to protect the game and I love it. So I gotta like start speaking out. This is what it is to be a propaganda machine.
These influencers reportedly paid to visit Gaza's GHF site.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, we could play that because they just like the way that they laugh and like they.
Unbelievable.
So we have 8 minutes now.
If I were Israel, I wouldn't even provide matching socks to Gaza. But here's all the aid that y'all claim doesn't exist.
And you know what's crazy? Cringe Drew and then their audience. Hey man, thanks for doing real journalism. Look how cute. They gave him a helmet. Look how cute they are. They gave him a vest. Like in America.
I'm here in Gaza, and all I see is food, water, and opportunity. When I see Hamas distributing the ramen noodles, they're eating it all, and that's on Ozempic. It's exactly Hamas's plan.
I mean, do I have to say
Israel, the traitor.
smile for a foreign government.
Yeah.
How do those people sleep at night?
To be clear, for everyone who's judging right now, we started off this whole loop by pointing out something the other side was doing. It's both sides doing it. It is fucking ridiculous. I don't want to hear about trans lives for Palestine. I don't want to hear that. You'd be thrown off a fucking building there. I also don't want to see this shit. It's just I don't care what country it is, man. Stop. And why? Like, stop.
Dude, I just don't know. This is where the game's at, bro. And that would do that. When I saw that one had my blood boiling. Not only did they do the propaganda for a foreign country, but the way that it's just so cute. They were actually in danger. FYI to the audience, I can't sleep at night, bro.
No.
I rather make no money, be broke, sleeping at my mom's house, but I can sleep at night. And I know that, hey, I'm telling my audience the truth of what I see on the ground. I'll never, come on, bro.
Selling your
to
soul.
go dance for
Yeah.
Israel foreign government, dude.
Something.
Kids while we're bombing children. They're on Ozempic. They're getting so much food. And those people are celebrated.
and by
They're
the
invited to stages and they speak. They're offered thousands of dollars at all the big conservative conferences. That's how you make it in the game. Yeah, you want to make it.
You're not a Hamas sympathizer, correct? Because that's what they're all going to call you now. They put a bullet in all their heads. Don't get me wrong. It's fuck everybody here. It's not.
Yeah,
you know,
You think we're on a team?
I got no love for Hamas whatsoever. Let's just be very clear. So our
I got
words
the
don't get
lighter.
fucking
Julian's got the
twisted.
match. We'll burn the fucking bridge.
It's
down.
like,
Yeah.
dude, my friend Eric Silver has amazing fucking
It starts maybe it starts like this, man, just like calling it out and just shaming, because that's really the only way. In a way, like it could happen with corporate media. They got shamed and they're trying to change it up a little bit and stuff. But I think calling it out for what it is, and to a lot of folks, if you're listening to this, like, if you're influencers, just make sure that you're telling the truth. A lot of people lie to you because they think they can get sheets, they're making all the money in the world, they can get that's where the game is at, and now the politicians have figured a way to, like I said, those are 22 years old. Lots of people see farming and travel the country and kind of got a little farming. The White House sends you, hey, we're an influencer. You get to meet Jay Pence. You get to meet Jay Pence. You take pictures. You know, you think that kid's going to roll back and they're going to follow the message. And now, just watch out, man. The game, there's not a lot of guys that really truly go balls and strikes. I think Julian's like one of the last podcast. But yeah, I think what drives me is to be a storyteller. People, like I said, when I hit the ground, as soon as the Black Lives Matter rise started, and right there, I got to see the difference of what the corporate media was reporting and what we saw. It happens again on both sides. So, right now, man, it just kind of feels like Minneapolis, watching this like live side taking place. Like Team Blue and Team Red are just getting tensions for and we're almost at that point. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. So we gotta call it out, man, because it's basically like it's the modern day propaganda now.
Oh,
And,
it's
yeah.
100%. And I appreciate you saying that. I don't really blame people in the audience who say this kind of thing, but unfortunately, because of other people like us, anytime that you or I give an opinion that someone is going to disagree with, that might be, not even an opinion, just like hear out. It's like on my show usually it's hear like hear out whoever's there. I become associated with that, and therefore I'm an agent of so-and-so, being my so-and-so. And it's because there are literally people that have that happen all the time, that people in the audience righteously, unfortunately, their heads go to, oh, they must be paid. It's very sad. This is what I mean by dragging down the rungs. So I'm so with you. This is why we fucked with each other right away. When we met a couple years ago, it's like, you just want to go get it, bro. You want to get the story regardless of what it is. Like, if it's bad, it's bad. You just have to report on it and let people figure it out from there. And those are the people I do my best to give a platform consistently to and to discuss things with us. And that's the healthy part of it. But like, let's hear it out and then let everybody else out there decide. When you start getting all the and catering to certain special interests, and that's the reason like with the politicians thing, I've never done that. It's like, you kind of lose the
a lot in the mainstream broadcast news where these reporters like disconnect even from a human element. And what I mean by that is I remember just this past year, unfortunately, on July 4th is when the tragic news from Kerrville happened, where the first news that first came out of Kerrville, folks that know this is about an hour out of 72 small Texas town. On July 4th, what kind of went viral first was 20 missing girls in Camp Mystic, and that kind of got like started hitting Twitter. And these girls are missing. There's a flood, and obviously like the story starts going mega viral. Someone puts a statement on X. Trump says resources, and I was like the first one actually reported to get to Kerrville when the info was very fresh. Remember when I got to Kerrville, it was like, hey, 20 dead, and we don't know where they're at. And on day 2, I woke up and I already had a gut feeling like this is gonna be like this is gonna be like just horrible. This would be major. And I remember I woke up the second day, it was 30 on dead, and we don't know how many are missing. I remember for like live shots and just hearing how like other reporters are treating like these missing kids like if they were stats, like almost like gleeful. Hey, 20 people are missing, and just treating them like stats, and like it was just like so I was so disgusted. Like, how are you so in love with yourself with the camera? You're not even realizing like the human moment, like what we're in. A lot of reporters, man, when like these big stories kind of like Kerrville break out, and I hate this. For them, it's like this like career moment. They like take selfies, bro. Like there's families that are like
Take selfies.
there's families looking for like their loved ones, and these guys are like taking pictures, posting it on Instagram, like smiles on their face, and like that. I never want to get to that level. And I remember like when I got to Kerrville, I just got that sick feeling. And then I just like, you know what, Jorge, I'm gonna do this so different, man. I'm gonna be super empathetic. I'm gonna tell the story through the lens of the Americans, family members here, and I'm just not gonna do this robot corporate reporting machine. That kind of was a confirming moment for me too. Just to, like, I don't want to ever reach that level. I always want to be down here. mud. They don't want to shine. They don't want the cameras on them. And like still, like, like this. So I just wanted to be like, I know we focus on all that stuff, but stuff really hits the fan. That's it. Like just super touched by that. But the stories, though, Julian, don't even sound realistic. I interviewed one lady who like woke up already to God and then hung onto a tree for like 50 that sacrifice themselves to save kids in their flood. I mean that so I highly encourage people, like, don't forget about Kerrville. For me myself, I'm gonna be back in Kerrville later this year, following up with all those families. I got a huge connection to the city now, and it changed me. But yeah, like I just wanted to treat those. Yeah.
Who has the same philosophy you do. You lead, yes, you have to report the story. Yes, it's not great, but there is an empathy you have to have for the families involved and for the people there on a personal level. So much so that, and I know you're the same way. Like,
shutdown and how they were surviving, and like trying to shine a light on like those huge stories. Massive play in the way they view politics and stuff. It's going to be super fascinating.
They're going to be the most fascinating generation, I think, in a while, because you mentioned it earlier correctly. So what they lived through. And I know, like when Tyler Oliveira was in here, we were laying it out. But just to repeat that for people who didn't hear episode 363, it's like you are like the peak Gen Z. Right? So Gen Z starts in roughly 96, 97, but even then, but if you're born in like 2000, your life is 9/11, which you don't even remember.
Right.
A bunch of wars that once you have your first memory, we just had a bunch of fucking people over there and you were getting the fucking Hurricane Katrina time, and then the blow up of the Bush-Cheney White House at the from every level. You have the financial crisis of 08, so you learned when you were maybe 8 or 9 years old watching your parents lose a job, and suddenly they were so stressed and maybe they divorced over it or it was something worse, and then you start to realize that like you can't afford basic things because now you don't have any money, and then suddenly all the rich people started recovering on the other side because they had money to put in the fire to be able to actually invest in it, but everyone else got left behind. And then the political divide that formed out of that created this huge left-right thing with the Tea Party and the Occupy Wall Street movement in 2011, which and letting in everyone else and taking care of them without taking care of the people who have been here for a long time, you're pretty fucking pissed off at this point. There's no good there. There is no good that has happened in your life at that point. And the fact that like pundits and people from other generations can't recognize this pattern to see why Gen Z feels some of the strong ways they do is embarrassing, because the answers are all right there in front of your fucking face.
Dude, it's sad. I don't know if we could Google it, Joey. I think it's like Gen Z now is like more Gen Z is going unemployed now. It's easier for them to be unemployed, living at mom and dad's house and actually like working and trying to survive. I think right now we have like here in the U.S. record number of able-bodied men just smoking weed, playing video games, living at their parents' house, no desire to get a job. Like this system's crumbling, and when you have all these individuals, especially men with no purpose, young men, you're gonna see kind of the societal kind of collapse. Go to college, it's majority women going to college, men struggling in college.
Costs what, 60 grand a year now?
And they're never like, see, for Gen Zers, work is more depressing than unemployment. I mean, this is a recipe for disaster. I mean, where's the executive orders for this? Where's the executive orders for, is Gen Z ever going to own a home? I mean, I'm a millennial, I'm 30. It's very difficult to find a 30-year-old that owns a home. I don't know. It's even worse for someone in Gen Z. Like, this is like a disaster. This is, to me, a huge issue, because this compounds the other things, because now for life is too expensive for Gen Z to get married. Let's say you're Gen Z, you meet a nice girl, you go to NYU, you're 21, 22, you both want to get married, but you're both strapped with debt. You're gonna have to live in this like super small apartment. You can't have kids. Obviously, it's nowhere place to raise a family. And all of a sudden, you're literally just living to survive, and your whole life is now just survival. I mean, I don't know how you look at this and don't tell me this is a recipe for disaster. I know in politics we like to fight about all the big headlines, but like to me, these are those underlying issues where it's about to crack. On top of that, we have a PSYOP in Minneapolis. We got a brewing civil war. It's almost there, man. These protesters, I mean, this to me, like if you're Gen Z, I would feel like, how am I gonna make it in the game? I guess I gotta go to Israel and say, don't start it.
I knew it was coming. Like,
but Julian, you get my pulse on this.
I know it almost feels like it's a plan for him to turn. It almost feels like that's
and then Rich are getting amateur. I mean, both sides don't really care. The establishment, I mean, both wings. Come on, Joe. We all know the pendulum's gonna swing the other way. We will give you this and that, but I mean, this is like I said, a disaster. I don't know if you can find the one, Joe, that article of the able-bodied men. I know we have like that. To me, there's just smoking weed, chilling at mom's house, no desire. You know, and I don't know, man. It's and then you got women graduating from college at record numbers, where like men are just kind of being left out. I mean, if people think that's a recipe for success for our society, then don't sign me up.
Something in there that's the most important thing of everything. You alluded to the fact that reproduction, which is the literal most basic evolutionary aspect of us as a species, has become, and I understand this, sadly, a financial decision. Because people have to for a kid, and then what if I can't get a job, and then what if I have to lose my job, and then what if I can't pay my college debt? Like, yeah, Mike Rowe was a troubling trend among working age men, says trades
And Rose's been saying, he's like, dude, I got companies contacting me. Hey, I need 10,000 guys to do this. I can't find them. And Rose's like, they're not out there. They're not out there. So, like, think about this. I mean, Julian, if you're a young guy, you're 23, you meet a nice lady, you guys have let's say you guys have a kid, maybe you weren't planning to, but you think that you do. All of a sudden, you're literally just working, so your child's in daycare. You're not even raising your own kid. Someone else's. And I mean, look, people can say all they want, but like, Dami won because his media, his messaging reached economic message saying, I will give you that daycare. I mean, people want to make fun of it. It's like, well, what's the Republican solution? You're not really offering folks anything. Of course they're going to vote for Mandami. They're fighting to survive. Hey, you give me free healthcare, I'll take it. You know, I don't care if I get taxed over here. I'll take that any day. So I'm saying that's their viewpoint. And now you can't even like raise a family in the United States. Look, I'm Salvadorian. I'm 30 years old. Like my dad crossed when he came to the border legally. My dad raised we had a nice middle class life all on one trucker salary. We weren't rich, we weren't poor. We had a nice middle class life in Downey, California. My mom could stay home. She didn't have to work, so she could stay home and raise us. And if we wanted to go on vacation once a month, I mean once every summer, we could do that. That was kind of like the American dream. Now, the dad who's a trucker is maybe killing himself working 18 hours a day. The mom now is probably working 2 hours a day. Now she's not really involved in her kid's life. And then, I mean, I just don't the whole system is really, to raise a family in the United States is becoming,
it's a huge problem, and I very much look forward to having kids. It has not happened yet. It will at some point here, and I have several. Throw your own. But you know, like that's something I really look forward to doing. Part of also what I'm doing right now is trying to build a foundation also to be able to do that. Not have to worry about it. And I say that as someone who's but like also to be able to raise them correctly. I have a huge goal in life, depending on where society goes with the future of our institution. To say would be to make sure that like my kids have college debt and stuff like that. I see that and what that is. That was like me. I wasn't an only child by my parents' choice. My mom had like 16 miscarriages. She wouldn't have a big family. Didn't have lucky thing that happened to her. But you know, there are a lot of downsides to being an only child, but there are a lot of upsides too. And to me now, with some age and understanding and seeing where society is, I think one of the biggest upsides that I got, if not the biggest, was the fact that I did not carry college debt. If I had had siblings, but because I was an only child, my mom prioritized my education, everything, right? And so, which I'm extremely grateful for. And so, to me, leaving college like that is essentially, in my opinion, like being halfway down the third baseline. So it adds another level to me with like success, where I'm saying to myself, like, what the fuck is my excuse? You know, like I have that advantage, so I've been gifted with that. Go take it. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't have to say that. Like, I should not live in a society where people go and sign something when they're 17 because they got 3 siblings and their parents are doing their best but can't afford to cover all their education, and then that affects every decision they make about their life over the next 20 years of their life. It stops them from doing the things and pursuing pursuing the dreams that they want to do, which is a legitimate issue that happens far too often, and it's not those people's fault.
Man, dude, that's so spot on. I am so lucky, bro, that the only reason I didn't graduate with any college status is that Daily Caller gave me a job. I was in community college and I dropped out. So I
just said, fuck it all.
I said, fuck it, man. And I'm hearing some of my friends, I'm like, oh, I cannot relate, bro. Yeah, I'm strapped 30, 40. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, what you said when you went to go get hired by Daily Callers and then as an intern, what you said?
Oh, this is great. So I got the opportunity to come to DC for the first time, May 2020. And me, my boss at that time, Richie McGinnis, for the Daily Caller, Washington, DC. Richie kind of like laughs and he looks at me and goes, I like that. All right, yeah.
We there with that.
Yeah, little did we know, man, like 2 days later, the George Floyd riots would start. I don't know if you could Google it, Joey, if you just put riot diet is Richie's book. This guy was my boss, but yeah, man, and then it was fucking but yeah, but shout out to Daily Caller, bro, because of them. Boy dropped out of community college, so I never had to go to Norfolk, never had to go to that. Also, shout out to Daily Caller. At that time, every other company was like, you can get an internship here, but we need you to take the shot, sir. We hit the ground, me and Richie together, in Seattle when the whole Chaz thing started. When they could create that autonomous zone, and it was so dangerous because anyone that would go in there and film, they were knocking your lights out. That's why no local reporters were going there, no national reporter. So Richie comes out with this awesome idea. He goes, "Hey man, I got an. I'm an intern at this time, bro. This is my boss telling me this. He goes, Ori, let's go to the liquor store. Let's buy a bunch of White Claws. Let's get a bunch of cigs." And let's just start like ripping White Claws, ripping cigs, passing them out. Let's just act like hippies, and no one would think we're reporters. So my boss was telling me to drink on the job and be a hippie. I'm like, let's do it. So then we started doing that, bro. And it worked to the T. People put their car down, and then we started filming all the disaster that was going on.
Start chanting resist.
Right. Yeah. Do all the greatest hits. All cops are bastards. I got that one in there. And yeah, we basically became. Now is known as the Riot Squad, the DC Riot Squad, but we became the first reporters to crack the corporate media narrative on Black Lives Matter. Because when I hit the ground, it was still the narrative was this is 100% peaceful. I hit the ground in DC, and they were burning up small businesses, assaulting business owners. I watched this photojournalist get his head stopped, and so I started becoming the first reporter to break that
you were
mold.
there for that.
I was in DC for the very first Black Lives Matter protest, to the point they were fighting Secret Service. About 2,000 were outside the White House midnight fighting Secret Service. They had to put Trump under a bunker, and that was my first story. I hit it as an intern, boom, and then we kind of hit it off. So, but Richie is just he's one of the best in the biz. I'd highly recommend people to read the book. He was one of the key kind of star witnesses in the Rittenhouse trial. We were on the ground for Rittenhouse. Richie was in front. It's crazy, man. He was in front of the guy Rosenbaum. So when Rittenhouse shot, Rosenbaum gets hit in the head, drops in front of Richie, and Richie, like at that moment, bro, like your body does fight or flight. It doesn't know what's going on. So Richie took off his shirt, strapped it on Rosenbaum's head, picks him up, and like some random truck drives by. They hop in the truck, and then I don't know if the guy ends up dying. In his arms, and I was there that night, and I remember like when that moment went down with Rittenhouse, bro. Kenosha's a small town. When Rittenhouse shot, people thought that guys were in cars just lighting up everyone. So people were running up to me, get out of the hotel, they're shooting at everyone. I'm like, what? So I run into my hotel, and I'm trying to call Richie, and little did I know that he's dealing with Rosenbaum and that whole thing. But yeah, it's one of the most insane times, and I think one thing that you'll appreciate, Julian, about Richie is, I won't say who, but a lot of folks on the right wanted him to grift off of that, become famous, and become like that guy. And Richie was like, these guys don't get it. Real people died there. And then what I crazy, dude, Jamal, I gotta tell you this. So then later that year, because I'm with the Daily Caller, so I cover obviously the conservative go to AmFest TPUSA that year, and there's no rumblings that Rittenhouse is gonna show up. Like no one knows if he's gonna come, and because Rittenhouse kind of has been hiding since the Kenosha show. So
Is this after? I'm sorry. This is after he's found.
so this is after he's found not guilty, right? So
November 21.
yeah, so I go to AmFest to do reporting, go interview a bunch of congressmen for the caller, and we're in that area where like all the whole crowd's at. Rittenhouse shows up. You would have thought Drake pulled up to AmFest. The way this crowd flooded this kid, who was like 18-year-old at the time, was I guess famous for shooting and I guess this makes him famous. They flooded this kid. Every influencer conservative, no matter how big their following was, when Rittenhouse stepped in, turned into a fangirl. All the women that were flooding Rittenhouse, people online, my mom went to say hi, you're a hero. And somehow I got a buddy, he got me a backstage pass, so I go backstage. And I'm just studying you, because I just love to observe. I'm not on the right or left, I don't care, but I'm watching how this kid is being propped up. I'm in backstage, and I'm looking at Rittenhouse. I can see the moment that kid big. It's too much. He's like excited. He's like sweating. He's kind of pacing. So many people are saying this stuff. It's like getting too much. He's realizing like, dude, I'm about to hit the main stage of the show. And it's getting too much. And then they finally get a handle to block off. Just look at this kid. He's going through so much. And then there's this moment, bro, where like Rittenhouse gets to go. He's about to walk the stage. So then I'm like, let me applaud him. Right shot. Taking a shot of just him walking up. He didn't hit the stage, so Rittenhouse walks up, hits the stage, fireworks go off, and I just, I take the video, then I go to X, and I just post like a, neutral kind of, hey, Rittenhouse hit the stage at FS, blah, blah, blah. The video goes viral, but both sides take it. The right takes it and goes, this guy's awesome, he's a hero, he's a Second Amendment guy, so the right takes it, bro, and they obviously turn it into like, this Rittenhouse is super sick. The left takes my video, and it's like, these guys are psychos, they're ready to kill it. So they just they both took my video, bro, and took whatever political narratives. But what I appreciate though, at least that time, bro, Richie was always hiding. He was not looking for clout.
No,
He was not looking for fame. He could have made millions of dollars.
Good for him.
But he stuck to just but this kind of goes back to what I was saying, Julian. Is some people, bro, in this world that we're in, they just disconnect. Maybe it's the fame, the clicks, something, and they're not even like operating on just a human level. That's right. And Richie was always there. He always stayed center, never wanted anything from it. And it was just like he just thought it was like I do too. He thought it was psycho. People wanted him to speak about it.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it was a thing.
it's crazy. I remember I got COVID really bad when that trial was going on. And so it was like a week where I had to cancel guests that were coming in. So I had to do a solo. I went and got like those monoclonal antibodies. My doctor was like, "Oh, get those." They don't work really well, but this is like still like peak COVID time. And so I had to do a solo episode for the first time at that point in like 60 episodes. It was episode 75. And I haven't like gone back and reviewed that tape, but I remember my opinions from it. And then I remember a lot of the commentary I got from people saying, something looking at this in a balanced way. And I still stand by what I thought. I really believe I had the right take there. It was like, when you look at the case, the kid did act in self-defense, and not that this matters for proving murder or not. The guy that he killed was also a pedophile too, which adds an angle to it. But like, he was acting in self-defense, and he also never should have been there. He never should have. A 17-year-old shouldn't fucking grab his gun, get in the car, drive across state lines, and go try to be a fucking hero at some event. Wearing fucking shooter gloves and shit in the middle of that. So like, I'm like, it's wrong that I felt it was wrong the kid was put on trial, and it was correct that he was found not guilty, and he's a young kid, he made a mistake of wrong place, wrong time. He should be able to go live his life, live and let live, nothing personal. But like, the whole deification of him over that, that's why I like appreciate Richie's viewpoint on this, because I'm sure there's massive PTSD there as well. Like, he witnessed it, dude. There's a ugliness to just the human element when something like that happens, regardless of what the motivations are, who does it, or why they do it. But like, I felt like exactly as you did. The left is wrong to try to say send this kid to prison for life. That's just legally wrong. And the right felt like, again, the pendulums. They had to feel like they had to have the opposite response. No, not only is that wrong, he's a hero too. And it's just,
It was also sick, Julian,
Cringe.
because like after that, like you could see all these like conservative podcast hosts how they basically had Rittenhouse doing the rounds, and I'm just like, you guys know what you guys are doing, just using this kid for clout. Really quick, bro, can I piss?
hell yeah. Because I was just going to ask you as well. We'll be back. We got to talk cartels, Iran, and a few other things. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. So we haven't gotten into like the cartels or like touch it from a political perspective, like some border stuff, which you've done a lot of stories on this, and you've also like you're plugged in that world. You're the reason Katarina Schultz got on this podcast, which thank you for that. That worked out well for everybody involved.
Got Ed on.
Got Ed on as well. Just coming back on Ed Calderon. So and oh yeah, you got John Norris too. So
Boy, dude, John.
you know what's up, and there's a lot of shit going on. But right now, I've had some different guys on recently where we've talked cartels. There's some different perspectives because people hear different things. But obviously, especially post the El Mayo thing, Sinaloa is having their faction wars, and so that's caused them to lose some power and everything. But right now, with these narco-terrorists, as the United States has declared them, who are like the Power Five, and what are they doing right now that you're hearing?
So right now, the two big that I'm hearing is okay. So like this is the thing, like right now, Sinaloa cartel is still involved in their own civil war. So you got like Los Chapitos versus the El Mayo faction. The issue for the El Mayo faction is that when El Chapo's son, I believe is Ovio, he could be singing real quick. He's gonna have a hearing really soon, and he could start to reveal some of the secrets from the other side. So I expect a crackdown. Like I feel like right now the Sinaloa cartel, from what I'm gathering, is at its weakest point ever because you have the pressure of the United States. When we started learning about the CIA drone fighting, it was flying off the coast of Sinaloa. And they're in the middle of a civil war. You have also the Mexican administration feeling that pressure from the administration, so they're cracking down heavy. What I found interesting too, Julian, last year, it was the first time that I saw HSI, like investigation of their agents in a cooperation with Mexican forces in Sinaloa. So they're gathering intel. So I think Sinaloa is going to fall. It might not fall with it, but they're at a very weak point. We'll see the way it goes. It can splinter to something else. So yeah, I think people need to forget like just because a cartel falls, it can still splinter to another group. We saw that with Los Zetas. But right now, cartel at least whenever it is the most powerful group. Yeah, CJG, they are now running for reporting their own responsibility. The mayor was like super outspoken against the cartel violence. They triggered him with some security guards, and they're the ones that came up with the murder. CJG, the reason that makes them powerful as of this moment is that they have dealings with so is Sinaloa cartel, not the Medicine CJG, with the Chinese chemical makers of the precursors for fentanyl. So right now, there's an agreement with the cartel. Basically, the Chinese need the Mexican cartels back the access to Mexico. If you actually just even look up China-Mexican relationships, getting very, very cozy, something to watch for. But they need them for the access to Mexico to then traffic fentanyl into the United States. But the most important thing is they need access to Mexican banks, and the Mexican banks need the access to Chinese banks for the money laundering. So right now, on the issue of illegal marijuana, basically kind of the underlying agreement is the Mexicans are going to let the Chinese run the black market marijuana businesses in the United States. They're essentially going to let them have at it, and they're slowly going to get out of it. And that's why the Chinese are flooding the illegal marijuana like crazy, sending money to China through multiple banks. A lot of lawyers are involved, a lot of phony stuff. Maine is becoming like a hotspot for us.
Triads are involved.
yeah,
I had Steve Robinson in.
He's awesome. I was just in Oklahoma again, and it's almost 99% are Chinese. So they're going to have the access to the illegal marijuana market. There's a lot of reasons the Chinese need that because of the black market funding, and also they brought in a bunch of Chinese nationals through the border, something I was heavily covering. And the thing is now the Mexicans need that access to those chemical precursors to keep that kind of drug pipeline alive right now. So that's something to watch for. So there's a lot of money laundering synonymous with the illegal marijuana with Mexican nationals, cartels, but that's almost completely Chinese run. And we're now getting the first reports of these kind of Chinese chemicals finally making it from China through Mexico into these marijuana grows. It's a big deal because all of these grows always had illegal pesticides and chemicals coming from Mexico. And these chemicals, you need them to protect the plant. So it's a lot of fascinating crossover between the two. Just if you just look at Mexico and China, just like the countries themselves, it's getting easier now for Chinese nationals to fly to Mexico without a visa. I cover a lot of the Tijuana a lot, so I always cross the foot from the San Diego San Isidro border entry into Tijuana, and always obviously when you cross the border entry, all of the signage is gonna be in English, right? Because the Americans put in. Now you go and half of the signage is in Mandarin. If you go to Tijuana, I was just in Tijuana a few days ago meeting with a couple of fixers. Half of Tijuana looks like it's in Beijing now, filled with Chinese nationals. Mexicali's total China now. So there's
So we're still having. Now you're reporting a lot of stuff on the Mexico side.
My reporting is closer. It follows the cartel, but my reporting is always following closer that Chinese Mexican cartel relationship plays over the United States. I know other reporters strictly just follow cartel in Mexico and all that cool stuff, but I'm American, so the China thing is I was found fascinating because I was the first reporter in 23 to break the surge when they were reaching South Texas. I got a tip off that Chinese nationals were reaching McAllen, particularly by an 1,000% spike. And I was the first reporter to get an actual interview with a Chinese national. Chinese Mexican connection is damning, and the thing is, what's scary with the Chinese is when I was coming across the border, they all had this system of ripping and burning their IDs at the border, so they're coming to the United States. We don't know who they are, and even if they have a passport, when the United States looks them up, the Chinese not gonna share any background information with the government. Yeah, here it is. Dude.
How Chinese networks are using U.S. banks to launder drug cartels' cash. Drug cartels helping enable the flow of deadly fentanyl into the United States. The Financial Crimes Enforcement Network Advisory and Financial Trend Analysis detail the vital role, in quotes, that the Chinese networks now play for groups including the Sinaloa Cartel and Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generacion, CJNG, both of which the U.S. designated as foreign terrorist organizations earlier this year. Chinese money laundering networks are global and pervasive and must be dismantled, Director Andrea Gacki said in a news release. She urged banks to Fish and Game. Yeah, or 2004 or
John's
something like
partner
that.
got shot in the fucking knee by Mexican
Bro.
nationals, AK-47, armed to the. And then, that was in 03. And then I meet John, and then we worked on a documentary together. And then John's like, "Hoy, I can't even believe this got 100 times worse." And the thing is, when John was dealing, it was strictly a Mexican problem. When we started doing our doc, we started to get the Chinese element in it. At that time, it was San Bernardino County, and it spread. Then I get a call to go to Oklahoma. When I touched on Oklahoma, that it was game over. 99% of those illegal grows in Oklahoma, Chinese, and you got lawyers getting these guys fake permits. They're smuggling Chinese nationals to work
Fake
on
permits.
yeah, like getting fake marijuana permits. Lawyers, so a lot of like the Chinese government and the CCP, they're basically paying off American lawyers, attorneys to get these fake marijuana permits in Oklahoma. And then they're also smuggling Chinese nationals to work on the grows. They're also smuggling Chinese national women to have sex with the workers. So there's some sex rings in these marijuana grows. This is to me one of the biggest stories, and I'm talking to a lot of law enforcement. They think the rescheduling of marijuana is gonna make this black market like just flood because it's gonna make it harder to crack down.
It makes it harder to how for people out there who see it go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which regardless of what you're going to say next, the fact that it was ever Schedule 1 is insane. However, what is like the, I don't know, science behind the fact that it will make this particular problem so much worse now that it's a Schedule 3 versus Schedule 1?
So from what I'm hearing from law enforcement is it's going to be much harder to get a warrant to then raid an operation, and if they do raid an operation, they need to find like hard evidence of human trafficking, weapons, or something to tie it to an actual crime. But if they don't, they're just basically, it's just marijuana plants, and they could just leave. So like in California, what kind of opened up the floodgates is the illegal marijuana operations were all happening on public land. So they'd be happening like Yosemite National Parks. But when they decriminalized it, and then you could basically do it in your home, they basically this is like John was like essentially criminals could use a constitution against you because now you need it's a whole process to even get to that grow. But up in, like I said, California exploded. It all went up to northern Oregon, southern Oregon, and then Oklahoma was like never on the radar. Now Oklahoma has an issue. I know you just had Steve Robert with the Maine. So it's getting these other states and like all these
Maine shit's crazy.
Yeah, and then now I think like Massachusetts is like kind of pulling back on legalizing weed in some areas, but I think this to me continues to be one of the most underrated stories. I got to see both sides of it. I got to see the legal marijuana grow, and I actually got to be on the border.
For a while.
Tens of thousands of Chinese. I was the first reporter 2023 in South Texas. I don't know if you could go on my ex, Joey, you could just be like Jorge Ventura, we could just be like Chinese National Search, but like 2023, I was the first reporter reporting on the surge in South Texas. That's where we find out the Ecuador and the price tag. I then get to San Diego, to an area called Jacola Hot Springs, an hour out of San Diego North, and then that's the area that it hit by tens of thousands. They came in flooding it, and the Chinese were like, "Oh yeah, we're free, the car's taking care of us," and then we find a team from Tijuana, just take away the Jorge Chinese apple. Yeah, they just yeah, I would take out that and just put Jacob Hot Springs, and we'll find a bunch of stuff that I got from that area if it's mine. Yeah, but I got way more tweets on it. What like happening now? Look at this, Julian.
This is
Look at this line. All happening.
Where's Moses? They crossed the Red Sea.
Look at the luggage. Just look how clean.
They got some fucking toonie bags.
And
That is
in this shot right here that we're watching, that happened on accident. I'm doing a live shot for News Nation, and I tell the camera, "Hey man, I'm gonna go to the gas station." Driving down, look to my left, boom. I said, "Whoa, rip that you." and then these are Indian nationals. I think at the tail end, but look at that, bro.
This is just one
Hey,
spot.
and think about this, guys. Cartel, 30 grand ahead, 30 grand ahead. There's a massive connection with the Chinese. Like, I don't know if we can even, I don't know if there's even news articles. Like I said, guys, Mexico and China, they're closing up their relations with governments.
You started this point though with the article we pulled up about the comments on the ties between Mexicans with the Chinese and banking institutions. Episode 290. He'll
No,
tell the
you're-
whole story. I had the guy in here who fucking had to do it. And it's just like,
It's crazy, bro, huh?
who's the, what's the Godfather? The Besanavante on the string. Who's holding that? Why?
See if I got any more joy on these tweets. This is crazy, bro, to watch these again. These are just guys. These are all people in your country right now, and they're all here chilling. Oh yeah, I was
because they're allowed to keep going after
Yeah.
this. They don't get arrested.
And you
they
gotta
don't-
remember, oh yeah, so here, bro, I did a thing where all these are armed smugglers, bro, that were just flooding the zone. I mean, flooding with
Those
my
are armed smugglers?
yeah.
On the other side.
Yeah. So I say armed smugglers and SUV drive groups of migrants right up to the border and guide migrants through open gaps in Jacuba Hot Springs, California. It's one of the most dangerous areas along the border in Mexico where the desert is filled with unsolved murders. I also went to the other side to do the reporting. We headed to the location embedded with Mexican. I had to go with Mexican military, bro. I couldn't be there. And we set up a kind of command center at one of the open gaps. Yeah, I had to go in with, look, right there, bro. I go in embedded with these guys. It's like, yo, dude, they're going to shoot you. There's armed motorcycle guys. Like,
What were those guys saying? What was their take on the Mexican military? What was their take on all this?
oh, they felt like they're like, dude, it's fucked. Like the cartel's basically just ramping us up. Like basically all those migrants, bro, it fucks everything up for all these guys. So, you know, yeah, I think the only American journalist, bro, that traveled to Tecate and reported from that open gap. I mean, right there is we're in hot zone central, right here. I mean, we could get lit up.
What is the, because even that banking article specifically alluded to the fentanyl. We've been talking mostly in the context of like the illegal weed grows and stuff like that. But we also know, you know, it's not like 15 years ago or something. Like I get nervous about this for my future kids if somehow, hopefully it's not, but this is still a problem. It's like if they go to get handed a joint when they're 14, does it have fucking fentanyl sprinkled in it or something? Like what have you seen any stem of the flow of fentanyl as a result of Trump coming into office?
So when it comes to the flow of fentanyl, this is the difficult thing is it looks sexy to say like we seize this company and they do 90% of fentanyl still come in through the port of entry. So it's
Through the port of entry.
still make it to the U.S. super easy. Yeah, it's very few that's in these open gaps. I know it looks sexy on movies and stuff like those places, but 90% of that fentanyl is coming in the port.
So what do they do? Put it in coffee containers and shit?
All types of stuff. I mean, they have all types of hidden, but the number one is that they're just
He's in rehab at the
all of them
moment.
had the directions of like when you cross the
Been
border
for a
into
while.
Mexico, like which
Every
which
time I
waiver
think
was
it's
going to get them
getting
to
better,
Cancun, and then from
it
Cancun go
hasn't.
straight to Tijuana. Tijuana, they already have the driver, and just return me. Like, I mean, this stuff to me is like that's a bigger deal, but that like I said, that Chinese Mexican connection is something to watch for, and I think that, to be honest, is going to keep CGAG very much alive. It could also basically funding maybe a military back in the United States, because they got it, that moment.
Right, so you're saying the United States, obviously we've already declared them narco-terrorists, so that gives us some extra abilities to attack them, but in order to say the attack is validated, are you saying that adding the angle of the fact that the CCP is directly working with, say, the CJNG?
I think just with the foreign tariffs declaration, they already have a leeway, because
Right.
now Trump
Right.
doesn't need to go to Congress.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if they'll tie it to the CCP, but it's like, so I feel like right now, if you're the cartel this, whatever, Henderson, you're using all this money, you're bankrolling it, you're getting more guys from the Mexican military, because you have current military guys, getting ready, you're gearing up for a potential fight with some type of U.S. special forces, that's the like.
What is, so this article, the investigation uncovering Chinese academic espionage at Stanford. This is from May 2025 in the Stanford Review. This summer, a CCP agent impersonated a Stanford student under the alias Charles Chen. He approached several students through social media. Anna, a Stanford student, conducting sensitive research on China began receiving unexpected messages from Charles Chen. At first, Charles' outreach seemed benign. He asked about networking opportunities, but soon his messages to the stranger. Charles inquired whether Anna spoke Mandarin, then increasingly persistent impersonations. He sent videos of Americans who had gained fame in China, encouraged Anna to visit Beijing, and offered to cover her travel expenses. He would send screenshots of a bank account balance and prove to provide plane tickets. Alarmingly, he referenced details about her that Anna had never disclosed to him. He advised her to hit the
He's in rehab at the moment.
Yeah, that's the
Been
people.
for a while.
Right, and some places there are
Every time I think it's getting better,
By doing this year, like I
it
said,
hasn't.
I believe in U.S. capacity. We'll see it in Mexico, whether they'll get shot by the or not. They're going to find a way. They're going to bypass Congress.
Why haven't they done it?
That's a good question. I think Mexico just posed that different challenge because they're our neighbor. Because we also have these I mean, we have millions of Mexican Americans in the U.S. It's a different kind of animal. But I don't know why they haven't done it. But they're already flying CIA in there. They already put in 8
U.S. feds arrest. No, it's
No,
from
not that one.
24.
It'll be from like the CHPC. Yeah, I don't know if we can still have it, but it was like crazy.
As best as you can remember it, and we'll forgive you if you miss a few details. Like what was the gist?
Basically, HSI, obviously U.S. special agents went in with
He's in rehab at the moment.
and I think that's my point. But
Been
they
good for a while.
yeah, that's it. They dismantled like
Every
3
time they think it's getting better, it hasn't.
like look, it wasn't even HSI. They let ICE in there. So it's like you have
He's in rehab at the moment.
HSI, you got CIA
Been
drones.
good for a
I
while.
got a few chaos agents running around.
Every time they think it's getting better, it hasn't. He's in rehab at the moment. Been good for a while. Every time they think it's getting better, it hasn't. He's in rehab at the
That's one thing that Ed kind of brought up to me when I spoke to him previously. Like, hey man, don't forget, like, what, you bomb them, and then like if you're a Mexican national, can't you just automatically get asylum in the U.S.? You're technically fleeing this foreign terrorist organization that the U.S. is technically at war with. So there's so many little elements. Comes down to
from the immediate aftermath. So I don't. Yeah, that one right there. That. He's got a lot of fucking things.
Yeah,
but you know, something's going on.
yeah.
With that. But so the Christian Defense Squad, my boy lives right there. So he saw to deny that their own people are who say it's real. They've tried to deny that it's real. It's been like a controversy. You know, there's a guy like Mark Polymeropoulos who had to retire. That's just one example. And like the government's like, oh no, it's not. I don't know. It's very sketchy.
Yeah. Go down to this one because I believe that the Department of Defense was testing it for a year.
The Defense Department experts linked to the roughly dozens of anomalous health incidents that remain